legislature. And so, we would love to have public financing for all their positions and so on, but the fact is, these are public servants. These are people, who are really working for the good of all. And, when you get $156 per day per diem, if you're coming from out of the district, you can't even find a hotel and meals for that in a day. So, people are giving up their livelihoods to be here because they care about New Mexico. And so I think that does change the whole tone. They're not paid legislators, and a lot of them are. I think we have very few professional politicians here. So it is unique. And thank you for noticing how refreshing it is. Yes.
I'm Elise Packard, a constituent of Senator Wirth. I'm raised as a Republican and a voter Democrat right now. I'm really picking up on the how to make our senators and representatives safe in this roundhouse. And to the question of, I know Senator Wirth stepped up last year on the banning of firearms in this roundhouse. Personally, I come from a city where our head of school board was shot point blank, killed. The damage that we lived with as a community and personally to their family is, you can't put that to words. So I'm raising the question, what can we as citizens do, as owners of this house, to protect you and ourselves? And Senator Wirth, I know you tried it. Where did it get blocked? And how can we help?
So it's interesting. It wasn't blocked in a partisan way. It was flat out blocked by leadership on both sides. I was actually approached by some leadership saying, "Why are you bringing this issue up? You're just educating people about."
Calling attention to the fact.
Yeah, you're calling attention to the fact. And I just think so. So here's what's happened since we've had, and Representative Garcia carried House Bill 77, gun safety legislation, which we really haven't seen since I've been here. It's the first time we've had legislation go in the other direction. It's always been the NRA whittling away, guns in restaurants, we're going to do guns in schools. And so for the first time we had legislation go in the other direction. But what changed it for me, and let me just say this, as a lawyer, I've got to strip down when I go into court. And I take off all the metal and I go through a metal detector. And there's a reason for that, because people are dealing with immensely personal and passionate issues. As a legislator, I have seen that same level, if not greater, passion in this building, because people who have been impacted in their lives get a hold of a bill as the way they're going to solve the tragedy in their family. And then they show up with a bill and it doesn't go the way they want it to go, and they quite frankly lose it. And so what changed for me, and again, we've kind of had this discussion, it needs to continue to happen, was when I heard that families and children people were so scared because of the number of guns in the committee rooms, and Representative Easley carried a bill, and I think, you've got more than 50% of the people in the room are carrying weapons. And when people stop participating, the democratic process is not working. And so when that starts happening, I think it's incumbent on us to continue to put people in uncomfortable positions and drop these bills and have the discussion. And ultimately, it's a vote at the end of the day.
Well, and to your point too, so you take that issue and you break it down a little bit. Stop and think about this. Who's going to oppose it? The NRA is going to step up and oppose it. It's just a knee-jerk thing. You got to frame the question a little bit differently. We have places now where guns are restricted for good reason. And you need to have that conversation, as Senator Wirth said, about the state capitol building. We're not, you know what I'm saying? If you have the discussion that way, we're not plowing new ground. There are places where guns are not allowed. You don't necessarily have to be a pro-gun or anti-gun person, but there are just some places that they shouldn't be. If you can frame the debate that way, then it makes it easier for some really hard NRA guy to maybe break ranks a little bit and say, you know what, I get that, you know, there's just some things that make sense and some things don't. That's how you begin to break these things down. And, you know, take a look at how, you know, here's the issue, now how can we make this palatable? Who do we need to swing and convince? Some of these guys, you know, you look at who gave them money, maybe the NRA's pumped a lot of money into some of these things, but, you know, there may be some guys that are willing to say, okay. And then some people have been touched by this personally too. See, that's the other thing you don't know until you talk to people sometimes. They may, you know, don't pigeonhole anybody. You'd be surprised. On any given issue, we all relate to our personal life experiences, and oftentimes that may cause us to break ranks and do things that you wouldn't associate or assume that we would necessarily, and especially when it comes to guns and gun violence. So, and then the Republican-Democrat thing, I can appreciate that. All my family's Democrats on both sides, and whenever they get together, they have a discussion. They think I was dropped on my head as a baby. That's what they come up with, because I'm all alone in my family.
Well, I think, you know, even though I know there are lots more questions and so on, I think we need to respect our panelists' time, and we really are at the end. Dick has a reminder about the legislative almanac.
Legislative almanac, this is, you know, particularly for someone who's challenged around facial recognition. I use this a lot, particularly with the new legislators. This will be updated. Legislative almanac will come in. You will find them in the lobby of the State House. Now they will be a little challenged now because they have to wait for all the new leadership and everything. But they're usually pretty good. By the second week of the legislative session, it will be updated with all the new legislators. It also has their seating charts on the House and the floor, so if you're looking down or you want to go down the floor, you'll be able to find out where your legislators sit. It gives all their committees, it gives their background, it gives their contact information. It's really a valuable tool. And we will also have the link to the electronic version of this on the league website.
Okay, yeah, and then also, before that publication comes out, you can also go to the photocopy room, which is right near this room, and you can pick up, you know, the blue or the gold, depending on, you know, which, whether it's House or Senate, forms that actually have which committees, who's on which committees, and what room numbers the legislator is in, and so on. So you know, you can get that from the photocopy room.
And that's still, all that is on the state legislative website too.
Right, right. I want to thank you all for making this a very exciting, wonderful panel, and for coming out. And you know, I think New Mexico is unique. We should be very, very proud. We've got, you know, lots of challenges, of course, but we really do have a wonderful, wonderful state. And thanks to our legislators for leading, and thank you, Linda, for your service. And I guess this concludes our panel.